Okay, so just real quick, here I have N++ open. You can see a little test map that I just made. I have the ninja, the door, the switch, and I have 3 bounce blocks, a ghost turret, and I have 4 thwomps in here, right? Now let's say that I want to add, I'm not going to explain the whole manual file editing business, but yeah, all I'm going to show is how to put a door in there, right? Since that's what seems to be the objective now. So I'm going to put an extra switch and door, and I'm going to do it by editing the file, okay? And I could do this with all the doors that I want, and I could even make a little script to put all the doors automatically if you want to put a door in every square or something, right? So let's see how to do that. I'm going to close N++, and this is the file of the level that I just have opened, right? Now, as I said, what you really should do is really analyze the image, which by the way I have over here. Okay, you should really analyze this, and you will see that everything really fits together. There's a few details that are not really here that you should know, and one of them is going to be relevant here, which is the following. So basically, you got some information here. This is the file size, then there's some padding involved, the mode, which is around here. Then you have the title, which is, as you can see, there's 4 bytes in here. I'm not really sure if it's padded to 128, but the maximum length is 128 or 127 and ended with this. Anyway, then you have all the tile data. So it's going to be 1 byte per tile, and there's 42 by 23 tiles, which I think is 966. You can see most of everything is a 0 because that's the empty tile. And after all that, we're going to have the object count. Now, where do they start? Well, I can see already that they start here, right? And the reason for that is that, because we have a 1, and the first object is the ninja. By the way, the order in which everything is done here actually follows this. Do I have the image here? Oh, I don't have it open. Hold on. Let's see if I still have it here. Well, I closed it. Anyway, so the picture that I opened before, right? It has the order of the levels of the object. So the first one is the ninja, and here we have the object count. So you have to put how many of each object there are, and each object takes 2 bytes, and the byte order is reversed. So it's a little endian. So what this means is that you have to reverse this, right? So that means you have 1 ninja, then 0 mines, 0 pieces of gold, 1 exit switch, right? And so on and so forth, blah 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 blah. Then we find this, which means 3 bounce blocks, 1 ghost turret, and these are the 4 thwomps. And then we still have some more for the remaining objects, and this is where the object starts. Now every object takes 5 bytes, as the chart says. So first you have the ID of the object, then you have X and Y coordinate, orientation, and mode. Okay. So let's say that I want to add, and by the way, the objects, they have to be ordered by ID as well. So first you have the ninja, because at ID is 0, then you have the exit, which is 3, the exit switch, which is 4. Then as you can see, we have 11, 11, 11. Those are the 3 bounce blocks. Then we have 13, which is the ghost turret, and then we have 4 14s, which are the 4 thwomps. Okay, and they have to be in order, otherwise the objects will be messed up. And this is a little detail that the chart doesn't say. For lock doors and trap doors, you actually have to do this. You don't have to respect the order. So lock door is the ID 6, and the lock door switch is the object number 7. So if you have a bunch of locked doors, you don't have to put all the 6s first and then all the 7s actually. So this is the exception to the rule. You have to put every pair 6 7 6 7 6 7, right? So you have to put door and then if I remember correctly, actually I might be mixing this up with the previous format, the one that Metanet levels use, which is different to the one that user levels use. I might be mixing up, so just experiment with this. Just keep it in mind, because that might be the case. But for the remaining objects, you certainly don't need to do that. You have to do it in order, right? So let's say that I want to add. Let's go right into business, because I'm already been diverging a bit too much. So let's go ahead and add an exit door and an exit switch, right? So as you can see, we have the ninja here, and we have the first exit door and the exit switch here. So I'm going to put the next door here because they have to be ordered by ID. So the next door is going to come here. So the door is 03. Make sure that you're not in insert mode, because you don't want to delete what you have. And I'm going to put a little more forward. So instead of 3A, let's say 3E. The same height, and then no mode, no orientation. Then we have this switch. They have to be in order if you don't want to switch it. So I'm going to put it after the first switch. I'm going to put the second switch. So that's 04 is the ID, 44 in coordinates, 5E, the same Y coordinate, and then no orientation and no mode. Okay, I'm going to save that. I've already added the objects. Now, of course, I have to update the object counts. And as we already determined, these are the object counts for the door and the exit. So we just added one each. And finally, we must not forget to update the size, right? We have added 2 objects. And since every object takes 5 bytes, we have added 10 bytes. So if you check the chart, the first 4 bytes are some kind of weird padding, and then this next word of 4 bytes, that's the length of the file in bytes. Okay, now this is done in each byte is big endian style, but the order of the data is little endian, which means that these 4 bytes you would have to invert them to actually get the size. So in other words, although this time they're the same, so it's actually symmetrical, so it doesn't matter. But what this means is that this actually goes before that. So if this was a 5 and it said 43 here, this wouldn't be a 543. This would be a 435, okay? So since we added 10 bytes, we have to go to this one, which is the least significant byte. And we have to add 10. Since this is hexadecimal, this has to be an F, right? It's not a 15, it has to be an F. So 3 steps. We add the objects that we want, we update the object counts, and we update the size. Okay, so after that is done, the map should load correctly. So make sure that we save, and now we have to reopen M++. That is important, because all the maps that you have are loaded when you open the game. So if you change something that will not work until you reload M. Okay, if something went wrong, then you wouldn't be able to see the image. Actually, it would probably be bugged and you wouldn't see it. So the fact that I can actually see it, it's promising. I might have made some error, but let's hope not. All right, here we have this, and it seems to work, right? So let's play test it. This switch opens that door as it should, and this switch opens the other door that we just added. Okay, so everything worked properly and perfectly, so we're done. Now, I'm gonna make a little quick comment. As you know, N++, you have an object limit for each object type, and they are different depending on the object. It can be as high as 8192 for mines and gold and whatnot, and it can be as low as 32, I think, for ninjas and exits probably. Now, if you edit this manually, you can bypass the limit, as you can see, because you can just do whatever you want. You're going to still have a limitation that there's no way to bypass, as far as I know, because you have the object counts here, and you only have 2 bytes per object, right? So the maximum number that you can put here is the maximum number of objects of each type that you can put, and the maximum number here is 2 to the power 16 minus 1, which is 65,535, I believe. So that's how many objects you can have. Now, that is not a problem, of course, because actually that is more than all the objects that you can fit on the screen, even if you pack them as tightly as you can without stacking them, right? That's pretty easy to calculate, because you have 42 by 23 grid squares, and each square you can put 16, right? Because you can place them every quarter of a grid. So if you calculate that product, 16 times 42 times 23, it's like 15K or something like that. That is roughly how many objects that would fill the screen completely. And it's much less than the than the 65K that you can put, right? So that limit, so you still have this limit that you can't bypass, but this limit is not a problem anymore, because it's very lenient. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to say. I hope that clears out some of the doubts. As I said, this doesn't clarify everything completely. It just, I mean, I didn't really go into all the possible details that you can say about manually editing a file, but it probably goes into the basics, and you know, once you know this, you can probably go into this image, and since you already know essentially what everything means, then you can refer to this chart and you will be able to find everything more easily, and hopefully master the manual editing format. Okay, so you got any doubts, you can comment them, and thanks for watching, I guess.